Hello and welcome to Wisdom Bites. Hope you're well. Thank you once again for joining us. Very much appreciated. And in today's video, I'm going to be looking at a series of charts which will give us an aggregate overall picture of exactly where Bitcoin is going and why at the end of this month we will know whether this current bear market has come to an end or not. And it's a chart that nobody seems to be looking at. I'll also have a look at the Bitcoin miners portfolio to see exactly where we're at and a few other things to give us an overall bigger picture so that we don't get caught out by Bitcoin in the next few days and weeks. So if that sounds interesting, then without further ado, get yourself a cup of tea, sit yourself down, eyes on the screen, and let's get cracking. And as usual, the usual polite reminder, please remember that everything in my videos is just for educational purposes. Please do your wider research before you make any investment decisions. Okay, so I'm going to start off on the monthly chart and look at the 8 EMA, the 8 exponential moving average, and why this is such a critical indicator in determining the end of the bull market as well as the end of the bear market. So in this first cycle that we had at the end of 2014, we had actually a bear market in between here. So we reached the top, fell below the 8 EMA, and then we had a period of sideways movement until we got above the 8 EMA, and look what happened afterwards. The 8 EMA became the actual support all the way right up to when we actually topped out at the end of 2013 here. And if we move to the next cycle, over here, up to the end of 2017, when we came to the end of that bull market at the end of 2013, we fell below the 8 EMA, recaptured it there, but when we actually finally went below it, that was the mark of the bear market. And look what happened afterwards. The first month that we captured the 8 EMA, that became support all the way up to the end of 2017, where we topped out there. So once again, the 8 EMA proved to be the marking of the end of the bear market in 2013-14 here, just as previously in 2012. And coming to the cycle between 2017 and 2021 here, when we eventually topped out in 2017 here and lost the 8 EMA, you can see quite clearly that when we first came back up above the 8 EMA, that was the start of the next mini bull run that we got up to 14,000. We eventually lost it due to the COVID situation over here. And then once we recaptured it again on this candle in April 2020, you can see that the 8 EMA quite clearly became support up to the first top that we got at 64,000 in April 2021 and the second top in November 2021. So you can see that this 8 EMA has played a critical and very relevant role in the Bitcoin price in all of the bull and the bear markets along the way. So what is it doing currently, which will tell us whether this will confirm the end of the bear market? So if we move to the current cycle where we are, you can see quite clearly that when we actually lost the 8 EMA over here, and if you remember in my videos around February and March, I actually went through the 8 EMA and I said that once we lose this, that could be the start of the bear market over here. And this is exactly what's happened. We've never recaptured that 8 EMA and we've come into this 12-month bear market. And I did a separate video back in March saying, are we in a 12-month bear market? And if you go back to my videos, you'll notice that there is a title called Are We in a 12-Month Bear Market, which I did around about the March time here. But the important thing is that just now, we're about to recapture this 8 EMA, which in the past has marked a significant marker in the end of the bear market in that cycle. And currently that price on the 8 EMA will be about 22,600. And if we get to the end of this month above and close above that 22,600, just like previously, the last time this happened was just after the COVID situation here, and that marked the end of that bear market. And we went on a big move where the 8 EMA provided the support all the way up to the 64,000. And this could quite easily happen all the way up here, where the 8 EMA provides support for the next top. And that could be a mini bull market up to about 50,000, 40,000, around these levels here. But this is a chart nobody seems to be looking at and something that we should really be aware of. So by the end of this month, keep an eye on this chart. And for those people who haven't decided to get in there, this would mark a significant change in people's minds that we have finally bottomed out at the 15,400 level here. And those with a discerning eye will have noticed that this trend line on the monthly chart has just broken up in this month's candle here. And just like it did over here, that was a mark of a big bull run to the upside. And just over here, that was a mark of a big bull run on the upside here. And similarly over here, that was a marker for the big bull run over here. So we are really at the cusp of moving much higher according to these charts. Another chart that people haven't picked up is the similarities and the fractal patterns that seems to be developing very similar to back in 2015 to what's happening currently now. In 2015 down here, you can see that we made two bottoms here, a lower bottom and a higher bottom over here. And very similarly, although this was 15.5, this was really the actual bottom, but technically this was the bottom and this is our second bottom over here. And in between, we got a rise here to 18,000 and over here it was actually about $300. And the big similarity really, apart from just these things, is that in 2015, once we'd bottomed out on a second higher low bottom here, we went on this very nice run all the way up, which everybody got caught out in. And it came all the way up to this level here of around about 470. And this is where we got the pullback into that low. And then we went on a big run from there onwards. And the reason why I'm pointing this out is that if we have actually double bottomed here and we're on the same trajectory over here, then those people waiting to get in below these levels of 15.4 over here, these charts would suggest that it isn't going to give you an opportunity to do that. And so we must always be mindful of changes in the direction of the Bitcoin price, which may be contrary to what our thinking might be at points before in the charts here. So very similar developments, as you can see quite clearly with the 2015. Even this big move, which took everybody by surprise, is exactly the same move that took everybody by surprise in 2015. Before I go into the 60-day cycle, I want to bring something to your attention here. Those with a very keen eye will have picked up a certain pattern which is extremely bullish at the bottom of a bear market, and that is the beginnings of an inverse head and shoulder. So we've already made the shoulder on the left-hand side. We've made the head over here lower than the previous shoulder. And the question is, are we about to make another shoulder, the right shoulder, over here? The question is, where is the neckline going to be? Currently, the price is around about the 22,800. So this could be where the neckline is. And that means that the shoulder would come back from here at 22.8 all the way back down to these levels around the 18.3 mark here. And that would make sense. And that would really frighten everybody, because once it comes back down here, people are going to be back into this psychology mode here that, oh, look what happened here. It's about to happen here as well. Obviously, it's not probably going to happen. That's how markets actually behave. So we could come back from where we are to the 18,300 and make this right shoulder before we have a massive move to the upside over here. Or we could have the neckline at 25. And that would make sense, because this is a major level that we had when we came up to this big massive rally that we had previously. And once again, if we came up to here, I would think with a very high degree of probability that if we do top out here or do come to this level, then there is a very good chance we're going to come back down. Now the question is, would we come back down to here, which seems unlikely to me if it's going to form a shoulder. Usually after a big run like this, the corrections don't tend to be this shallow for a second shoulder. Obviously it can happen, the probability is just less. The higher degree of probability would be to come back to this level at 21.4 and make a deeper shoulder here. And if it really wants to frighten everybody and panic and shake people out, then it would come back again to the 18,300 level here. But certainly either where we are now or 25,000 would seem like the natural place to actually form a second shoulder on the right hand side. And in classical charting, that would be extremely bullish and the end of this bear market and the start of a new bull run for the next 3 years. Okay, a quick look at the CME futures gaps. And this weekend, so far, we've actually left a little gap over here. Just like last week, we left a gap back at the 19,995, and that one hasn't been filled, but we need to keep an eye on this because we know with a higher degree of probability, Bitcoin has a habit of coming back. When we do have a correction, we have a habit of filling these gaps all the way down here. So you know that more than likely, when we do have a correction, is going to come back to the 19,995 level. Certainly, this current gap that we've got, it's only a small gap, and that was formed over the weekend from the Friday's close at 22,525. So at 22,525 is where the gap is, and the current price obviously has jumped a little bit higher than that, we can see with this gap here. So we know that more than likely it's going to come back and fill this when we do eventually have a correction. So keep an eye on this. Okay, onto the daily cycle, and clearly this is the start of the current cycle, and from there we're on day 24 here. We can see that at the midpoint we're still obviously 6 or 7 days behind there. So the chances are, if we're going to make a right translated cycle, i.e. to top out after the midpoint here, then we're going to have to make a big move to the 25,000. And maybe that is where we're going to go into the 60-day cycle low from that point onwards. So this 25,000 would provide a very good natural place to have a correction. And just like when we had this big run up over here, we went sideways for a few days to gain more energy for the bigger move. Maybe this is exactly what we're doing here, gaining more momentum on a sideways move before we actually move to the upside over here. So only time will tell, but keep an eye on this. The structure of the 60-day cycle really helps us to know exactly where we are and where possibly and probably we're likely to go. Okay, finally, have a look at the Bitcoin miners and see exactly on the Friday close how that's affected our Bitcoin miners portfolio that we started on the 5th of January this year. As you can see, the Friday's close was a nice green board here, and those figures here translated into our portfolio, which has now gone up by 69%. So we are up from the starting capital of $100,000 with our target at the end of 2023 of $1 million. We're up to 169,000 within 3 weeks. So this is going really strongly. And the actual leaders have now changed hands quite a bit. The Hut 8 and Bitfarms are already well over 100% over here. And my two horses have now slipped a little bit. Marathon at 91% and Cypher Mining at 69%. And the two laggards are still Mawson at 21% and CleanSpark at 21%. I'm still very confident that the target of $1 million can easily be reached by the end of 2023. And before we end, I want to actually just go on this thing called the Daily Self-Love Affirmations. And I actually posted these affirmations on my Twitter page last week here. And I know quite a lot of you like these types of affirmations. And if you'd want to join me on Twitter and you haven't already joined me there, then it's very simple. At the bottom of my videos, there's a link on my Twitter page. And here, as you can see, I do post quite a lot of charts and affirmations and personal development stuff in between my videos, so you can keep up to date with what I'm thinking on this channel at Wisdom Bites. And the reason why people do these affirmations, I can assure you that these really do work. Now what this does actually is it embeds a code of behavior in our subconscious mind to make subliminal changes to your outlook and behavior in life. And they will be very beneficial to you. For instance, if I give you an example, if you get to a point where you're feeling very angry, anxious, irritated, all that kind of thing, the fact that you do self-love affirmations, and because they're embedded in the subconscious mind, at that point when you're feeling irritated, when you're feeling angry, when you're feeling anxious, these things come into play and a voice inside of you says, no, I love myself too much to be able to express this terrible negative emotion called anger and frustration and irritation and all that kind of thing. So if you do this every day, and I'll go through this now with you, it's something that I do very regularly and it has a calming effect. So these are the few that I've actually chosen, and it basically says, I love myself just as I am today. I choose to be kind to myself. I am my own best friend. It is natural for me to love myself. I am grateful to be the person I am. I love each part of myself. I honor my life and I appreciate all the ways that I am unique. Okay, so I hope you found this useful, and I also hope you found value in the video. If you did, then please do remember to like and subscribe and to turn on the notification bell. And if you have any comments, questions or suggestions, leave them in the comments below. Until the next time, take care, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.